everybody. Welcome back to Wingman's Hangar, an inside look at everything Star Citizen, Chris Roberts' newest and greatest epic space adventure. Let's get to it. This is episode 59. We have an in-depth look today at damage states. We have form feedback with your questions, and an interview with David Ladyman, where we're going to talk a little bit about jump point. Look forward to that. It's pretty cool stuff. So what went on at this week at CIG? Well, we had a full performance capture this week. Now, what is full performance capture? That's where we capture facial performance, audio performance, and movement at the same time. And that is a really, really difficult thing. It's almost like blocking out a play or a movie, and you can do multiple actors at the same time, so that when we get the digital images of these characters and we put them into the game, the eye lines are gonna match up and things are gonna look really cool. Dogfighter servers, internal testing. Yes, we are still testing the servers when they are up. So, as you know, that's one of the biggest risks we have is the back-end server support. So sometimes we've been able to play each other in multiple studios. Most of the time it's crashing, but we're working on that. We'll get it out, you know, or we'll die trying. So that's the bottom line with anything like this, where we're doing servers on the web where they scale based on, you know, how many people are in the thing, or how many instance, for instance. We will then scale it, and that causes issues. And so we're struggling with that right now, but we'll get it right. We got top men on it. Top men. All right, what else? Oh, Next Great Starship, episode 1.5 last week. Really neat. They finally got down to the people that are making it through to the competition, and our judges and panels looked it over, and Sandi does a great job of hosting that show, and it seems to be getting better and better every week. I can't wait to see episode 1.6. I don't understand the 1.6 thing, but I'm looking forward to it. Ooh, Hangar patch. Well, we had a couple Hangar patches last week. We put out the Oculus Rift support, and we put out some Cutlass fixes. We'll be patching the Hangar as we go. It's a branch separate from the main branch right now in the code base. But a lot of that's going to depend on how many people we have to do that. Right now, we have a kind of an all hands on deck on dogfighting, where, as we all know, you guys and we guys, it's very important that dogfighting is key. So we've got a lot of people embedded in Los Angeles right now helping out, and so does Aaron. Aaron sent a whole crew of people over there. Everybody is working hard on dogfighting in Austin, in Manchester, and specifically in Santa Monica. Those guys are killing it out there. So keep it up, guys. We're all looking forward to it, and to bring dogfighting to you. It's very crucial that we make it happen, and I know you guys are looking forward to it, and we are too. Damage states. Well, what are damage states? We decided to take a little in-depth look and take you through the process of damage states. Here's Sandi.
Hi, I'm Sandi Gardiner here for this week's Studio report on damage states, and we're going to talk to some of the team, see what they're working on.
Hi there, I'm Chris Smith. I'm the lead ship modeler.
So I'm Dan Tracy. I'm the senior technical designer here at Cloud Imperium Games.
I'm Casey Robinson. I'm the visual effects artist.
Forrest Steffen, technical artist at Cloud Imperium Games. So we're going to talk about, my opinion, the funnest thing of dogfighting, and that is all the effects that happen when you are blowing up your ship and taking down your friend in a vicious dogfighting match.
And it all starts with you, right, Chris?
So I start with the modeling of the pieces. Obviously, we kind of go through a little concepting phase of trying out different looks, and you know, put the model together and hook it all up. Put the little helpers on there for the effects, and then end up working with Dan quite a bit and trying to get the look right. This is basically the Hornet file as it stands. It has all the damage states visible right now, including the pristine states. And all these little green boxes that you see are basically an effect that will happen on any given damage state. There will be, you know, these little helpers will be there for the effects guys, you know, for Forrest, and then to add like a little spark or a little smoke and explosions and all that kind of stuff.
So Dan told me that you created around 100 damage states for the Hornet. Is that true?
Yes, I did. You know, we wanted a lot of fidelity, a lot of, you know, kind of, you know, movie-like breakup, you know, for these ships, you know, lots of little pieces. So definitely, yeah, initially when you shoot at them, at the ship, you're going to have a lot of pieces flying around. So here we have, I've broken out a section of the tailpiece for the Hornet. Each ship will get broken out according to its obvious appendages, mostly like the cockpit, you know, the wings, the tailpiece, and the midsection. And each of those individual modules will go through its damage states. So here you can see I have the pristine version, undamaged. And here you can see the 25%, which, you know, the paneling starts coming off, and you can see the little effect boxes. Although these, on these little panels, will go away. So this is like a sort of prototype stage, you know, and as we're going, we're still adjusting things, and, you know, we just put effects on everything, and so basically we can try everything out and then take it away afterwards and edit ourselves. But we wanted to first have it all available for the effects artists so they can play around with it and see what looks the best. So this would be the 25% where just paneling comes off. And here we would have the 50% where a little bit bigger chunks would come off. So you have this little big piece that sort of flies off, and this little corner that will come off. Here the 75. Basically, the more you go, the further you go into the damage state, the bigger chunks just fly off. And eventually you land at 100%, where it's just the stub of the tail, and it's basically unusable. And at that point, either you're dead in the ship, or your ship's pretty much useless, and you're just floating in space.
Forrest, that gets a giggle because that means a lot of work, I'm assuming.
Yeah, everything needs an effect that happens when you do it, so it's a good 100 effects to do.
I try to keep them busy.
High fidelity. Basically, our 3D modelers are taking all of our ships and ripping them apart in every which way, ripping wings off, breaking the hulls in half, putting holes into the wing. And so my job is to go through every aspect that they have broken apart and make sure that there's an effect tagged to every piece of the ship. So if a panel gets ripped off, you know, there's sparks that come with it. If you shoot the engine, you get a nice little explosion. So a visual aspect to kind of go along with the fun gameplay. All of our effects are tagged by helpers, and then how we know what effect to play with each helper is handled through scripts. And basically it's a big long text file that's 2,200 lines that tags everything together. So I have to go through all those and tell it the exact name of the effect that's going to play with the exact name of the helper that's tagged to the part of the ship that gets ripped apart. So for example, if a panel gets ripped off, we put a little helper right where the panel is, and then it gives it a name. Then in the script, I say, take this effect and play it with this helper at this exact moment when it happens in the dogfight. Here we go, there's the body, there's the hull, canopy, nose, still going, still going. Oh, there's the intake, wing left, wing right, wing rear, panel, thanks Chris. Still going, another panel, still going, and done. That's a lot of code.
So when I originally get the pieces from Forrest, they have temp effects or older effects, and I'll go in and specifically create very unique wing explosion effects, or cockpit, or tail, or engine. So just to add more character to the breaking apart of each spaceship. What we have for the destruction stuff is a lot of fume effects explosions. So fume effects is a movie studio used program. What we're doing is we create fluid sims that you really only see in a movie for a few frames. We're talking maybe 60 frames worth of animation. And these sims can take weeks to create. And just to run through all the different things, the fuel and the burn off and creating the smoke. But when you see it in a movie, it happens in 2 seconds. So here's fume effects. We're going to go through kind of a little bit of what it's like working in it. So here I have an explosion. All of these points have different information that's creating the fluid sim. What I see in an output window might look something like this. So this is kind of the display, and this is what I'm going through. So I can scrub through here, and I can see my fire, I can see my smoke, I can kind of see how it rises a little bit. And then this sim might take a night, and I'll come in the morning, render it out, and I get something a little bit more like this. So this is kind of the first step of where the explosion might go. What's really nice is I can rotate around this and get different views of my explosion. So as I rotate around, we might get a completely different explosion just based upon a different camera angle. So depending on what we're looking for, that might be a better angle. This might work a little bit more. So one explosion can be used many times to get different elements. And again, this is something that has fire and smoke. So we might do a fire only, or we might do a smoke only, and add those together in a later process. And hopefully, if I do my job right, the visual effects look fantastic. In the video game, we're going to have a lot of these pieces that have that quality level, but you're going to see them over and over and over again. You're going to see them every single time you blow up a ship, blow off a wing. CryEngine allows us to really push how much texture space the visual effects are going to have. You couldn't do this in a video game 5 years ago. You couldn't do this in a video game 2 years ago.
So essentially, how many different points on the Hornet can I shoot at?
Right now there's currently 10 different parts. So we have like the cockpit, we have the 2 intakes left and right, the 2 main wings left and right, and then the rear wings as well as the tail, the engine housing, and then the main body. So with that, we have the engine housing is where your kind of main reactor is going to be, with along with your main thruster. So that's going to be like the critical location. If you want to just outright destroy that ship, aim for the engines, right? So then that'll do like a big massive explosion that'll do like a catastrophic failure for like the body structure, and then this whole thing will just break apart into its own pieces, and then you'll see all these, like the cockpit drifting away, and then the wings drifting away as well. And if you're careful with that, the wings on the extremity, like you might be able to actually salvage those individual items that haven't been actually hit by any damage or any explosion yet. So you might be able to go in and recover that stuff within the persistent universe. So inside of the engine here, inside of Sandbox, I'm going to jump in. We set up a level here right now with the Hornet just in its destruction states. So we can actually just demo off how we're actually going to be shooting this thing and blowing off all these different pieces. So with just the weapon mount that we have currently set up, I got this level where we can actually just rotate the Hornet to shoot it wherever we want, and actually see all the different particle effects that are actually coming off of this thing, both like on the tail and on all the individual wings here. So with that, we can actually see all these individual kind of destruction pieces going from like the 25% damage states to 50% to 75% from here. And how this is all actually glued together was all of Chris Smith's pieces that he actually modeled out within Max. And we had that, all of them separated out into their own kind of sub parts. I can actually show you here with this quick damage parts below. With each one of these, we had set up where we had like the cockpit be its own piece, the left and right intake being their own pieces, left and right wings, the rear wings, and also the tail, as well as the main body. So the actual main body is the one that's actually causing ship death. And from there, that's actually constitutes an actual ship destruction. But each one of these parts is actually going to house all of your different items. So we can actually start damaging off all the different intakes. So we can actually blow off like any of your hydrogen scoops that you're actually going to be having, or your in atmosphere kind of setups. Same thing with your wings. You have the destruction on your wings. You can see there on the left wing that I just blew off. You just lost your left gun. From there, which is no longer functional, and that's all damaged and gone away. You could even lose, you can see here underneath the actual wings, I have my landing gear. If I actually lose those wings, I might have to go in for a crash landing now in order to survive the actual landing, since my left wing with my landing gear is all gone. So I can actually get to the point where all of these parts are completely destroyed, but my ship is still intact. So we've actually gone way beyond like a lot of other games in terms of their destruction fidelity of how many different states this thing is actually going to be broken up into. And then when we actually destroy the main body here, you can actually see Casey's volumetric explosion that he's actually shown you guys already. So from there, that just shows off like how your Hornet is totally going to be blown up and able to be completely destroyed inside of the game, and we want to take that same fidelity to the rest of the ships throughout the game. But for now, like what we're doing with the point stuff for dogfight, we're actually setting up some of the game modes so that you actually have, when you're damaging the ship, you're actually getting point values for that, blowing up different parts of the ship before you're actually destroying the ship itself. So then that way it's an incentive to actually see and cripple the ship before you actually kill the pilot, right? So then that'll be like an additional point value on top of that.
So you mean I get points for making him
exactly.
bleed?
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
So you actually get
slow death.
Slow death. So you cut him up first, right? It's like I want to see.
Wow, that's hardcore. There you have it, guys. See you soon.
Wow, that is really, really cool. Thanks to Sandi and the gang out there for putting that together. I hope you guys liked it. There might be more on that later, we'll see, but 15 minutes of damage states, baby! And we'll get the dogfighting module out. You'll get to see that in action. It's gonna be really, really fun. Look who's here. Hey, Rob.
Hey, Eric.
Guess what time it is?
It's
time for...
feedback.
Exactly, time for forum feedback. Let's get right to it. From Failscape, in regards to damage states, when the ships are returned to the hangar damaged, will the damage state carry over?
That's kind of a two-part question.
It kind of is, yeah.
Because in dogfighting V1, it's not going to. You're in a simulator.
You're in a simulator, right.
Your ship will be fine. We're not going to damage your ships in the making of this dogfighting. But then in the persistent universe, it will eventually. The damage will stay, and over time, it will get dirtier and more damaged.
Yeah, Forrest showed a little bit of that.
Until you fix it.
Yeah, Forrest showed some of that with PBR, how it's going to rust or go through over time. And yeah, as you said, it's a simulator. It's a dogfighting module. You know, don't forget, you guys are helping us test this thing so that we can, you know, find out and balance and tune this thing as we go. So, you know, it wouldn't do us any good if everybody's ship was blowing up left and right. We weren't able to get any data out of that. It's, I lost my ship. I need a new one. From Greykeys, are there plans to add a spectator mode with multiple viewpoints allowed, free floating, in-ship, third person of ship, etc., to the dogfighting module, or at some point in the future?
At some point in the future is a good answer to that.
Yeah.
We've definitely talked about that being an essential thing as far as people being able to watch other people play.
Yeah, I think it's crucial.
But not in V1. The one thing we will have in V1 is when you eject from your ship, you'll be able to kind of hang out in space and watch the battle around you for a little while.
That's kind of cool.
And duck laser bolts.
Sit there going, it's so cold. I'm chilly. Where's my ship? Cool. So you have your own version of gravity. From Zek, if you are tracking someone that is wanted dead or alive, and when you catch up to them, they force you to drag back a corpse rather than a prisoner, what happens to their ship? Since you legally killed them, do you get to keep their vessel as part of the spoils, or do they retain ownership? That's a big question.
Let's think about real life for a moment.
Yeah.
Because you know we're all about realism. So if you're a bounty hunter and you drag somebody in, you don't get to keep their car. So in this case, no, you don't get to keep their ship. It's still an act of piracy to steal someone's ship. So if you want to be a pirate and a bounty hunter, great. Kill them and take their ship.
Fair enough. So yeah, that makes perfect sense. From the Illuminati, with the indication that the Idris has grown, should its class be modified from corvette to that of frigate?
Technically, it is maybe a little bit large compared to the small ships to be a corvette, but it's still a corvette. Basically just the relative scales of the larger ships has just increased to go with them. It all works out perfectly in the scale chart.
Yeah, and it's looking sweet. And at some point, we'll be able to show you guys how it's looking. And man, I think you're going to like it. Oh, this is interesting. From Jimmy, the Space Cowboy. The character animations are cool, but they're a bit on the slow side. If I've got to run from gunner seat to put out a fire down the hall, I don't want my avatar taking a sweet time about it, where there'll be faster animations in emergency situations.
I think I'm going to go take care of that fire.
Yeah.
Maybe tomorrow.
That fire down the hall there.
So yeah, there is the animations are going to be undergoing constant tweaking.
Yeah.
So don't expect that everything in there is going to stay the way it is right now. We're not sure if we're going to do like separate contextual faster animations for, you know, shift and dash out of the seat sort of thing. But they'll be tweaked to be faster in some cases, I'm sure.
Okay, well, that's cool. All right. From Mox Fader, will there be AI voices on ships? And if so, will we be able to customize the voice and personality?
A lot of recorded voice there, wouldn't it?
It would be,
have
yeah.
customized voices.
Kind of like the thing of the GPS system or something like that.
Exactly, and you can pick from a handful in the GPS systems.
Right.
And we'll probably do the same thing. We'll have more than one eventually, but right now Bitching Betty is just going to be a single voice. For
Bitching Betty?
That's the military term.
Oh, for the like if somebody's on your 6. Somebody's on your 6. You're taking damage.
I'm not sure that the ship would tell you that particularly.
Why can't it just be like back rub Betty? A nicer person.
You can get some beads for your Hornet
You're
seat.
about out of missiles, Dakota. Please reload. Ooh, those bullets hurt. I mean, that would be much better, I think. Don't you? No? Right, me either. From Trapjaw. Will there be investigation missions in Star Citizen, such as investigating a crime or deciphering alien hieroglyphics to unlock an ancient vault?
You did a good job on hieroglyphics there.
I know.
I figured you might just trip right over that one.
Yeah, that I can do the bigger words. It's the Trapjaw ones I have issues with.
Just the names.
Yeah.
So initially, for the persistent universe, we planned at least to do like some form of investigation to find people that you're hunting down for bounties. The more advanced content like that, it's on our roadmap for the long term, but probably won't have that level of mission detail at launch.
Right. So Star Citizen CSI in the future. From Wavion. How is time handled in the verse? 1.21 gigawatts. How is time handled in the verse?
That is some seriously awesome photoshopping. there, by the way.
Yeah, my Doc Brown needs work, I think.
Yeah, the voice acting maybe we need to work on, but the Photoshop job was awesome.
So that sucked.
So time, that's a whole can of worms because there's a lot of different pieces.
Big
to
question,
this.
though. All kidding aside, it is
Yeah,
a big
it is a
question.
very big question. Now, so from a standpoint of time passing on planets, yes, there are going to be night and day cycles on them. From the point of view of time compression, we're not sure exactly what that number is yet. I think that's going to take a lot of playing around to see what feels comfortable. We're pretty certain there will be compressed time in the game, but we're not sure exactly where that's going to sit.
That's one of those things that the audience or the people out there that are playing the game, the citizens, are going to help us with. They'll be able to,
absolutely.
if they'll be able to give us feedback as to how long it takes to get from one end of the system to the other, or standard systems, and we'll be adjusting as we go. So. You guys will be helping us out on that.
The other piece of that one then is the standard Earth time, which is something we do in our fiction.
That's a good point.
Dave Haddock we've talked about time a lot, and we do keep a standardized clock so that if you're setting something up on your calendar, it will be at the same time no matter where you started. But each system also has its own local time as well.
Okay, well that's cool.
There's time in a bottle.
Oh. I'm supposed to do the corny jokes. Oh,
I forgot.
Man. Well, on that note, here's Ben Lesnick with this week's MVP.
Hey everyone, welcome to MVP Most Valuable Post. I'm Ben Lesnick, Community Manager for Star Citizen, and I'm here to tell you what the best post at the RSI forums was this week. This week the honor goes to Trilithon for his excellent guide to the new Cutlass animations. He's created this cool series of graphics that shows you exactly how you can interact with the new Cutlass, which we recently added to the Hangar. So if you're bored and want to walk around your Cutlass and discover some of the interesting stuff we've hidden in there, check out his guide. Thanks a lot. That's MVP for the week.
So this week's Fan Focus, we take a look at some of the people who've done some paint-overs on some nose art on some of the ships. They were really, really cool. I particularly like the tiger print. Take a look at that. You got the stripes, you got the orange. That's really cool. Always good to see the flying tigers with the tiger shark nose there. Wow, really, really talented. The camouflage one's pretty neat too. I like that. Not sure that camouflage pattern works in space, but it's pretty cool. And my favorite is probably the World War II era P-51 look. Love that. Very, very nice. And that's this week's Fan Focus. really, really nice to see, and some of the fans are extremely talented, and we love to focus on that. And look who's here. How you doing, David?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Well, it's great. We usually, at this point, thank subscribers and pledgers for what they've done, but we've got some info on what they're getting.
Yes, we do.
What do you got there?
I have here a sample. This is a sample.
Sample?
Of the Imperator.
Imperator, can I see it?
Yes, you
Imperator
can.
edition? Look at that. Let me put this up here.
We talked to them. They said what they wanted was a hardcover edition, that they were happy to pay shipping on this, but a hardcover edition,
Right.
especially for the Imperators who have subscribed for at least 12 months. In fact, what we originally promised was that anyone who had subscribed for at least 12 months by this past July would have access to this. And we've extended that so that anyone who has been an Imperator for at least 12 months through, I think, February through about now, is going to have access to the hardcover version. It has every page of Jump Point that we've done in 2012, 2013. There's 650 pages of Jump Point in there. 650
pages. Now, there's kind of a funny story in there that we were, what did we originally say, like 4 to 6 pages?
We originally promised 4 to 6.
Right.
You originally promised 4 to 6. I wasn't even.
Oh, we as a company,
Yeah.
CIG.
Promised 4 to 6 pages per month.
Right.
And now it's about 46 pages per month. But
and in the back of it.
well, that's right. Every single person who has subscribed for a month or more in 2012, 2013, your community moniker is listed here.
So you're etched in history, and this is really, really nice. It's hardbound.
Now, for Centurions, for other folks, we will have a paperback version.
Right.
It won't have the big Imperator logo on it.
Right.
And the Centurions who have subscribed for at least a year will get that at a discount rate, at a cut rate.
Cool.
And it will be on sale, we're hoping, by tomorrow.
Wow, this is really cool. And by tomorrow, you mean today, because we're actually shooting that today.
No, by tomorrow I mean Thursday.
Well,
we're
you were so
actually
far
shooting
ahead of me on
yesterday,
this
yes.
game. You're right, you're
One of
right.
those time dilation things.
No, wait, now, so that's how time's going to work in
Yes,
the
it
universe. Well, this is really, really
Everybody
neat.
else will be a day ahead of you at all times.
Yeah, it's typical. My wife is several days ahead of me, generally
Yeah.
speaking. Well, this is really, really cool. And Jump Point Magazine has been a big hit for the subscribers, and it's been a massive boon for the pledgers, because things that go through Jump Point early, we get a lot of content for the website out of that going forward, and you've done an incredible job. And
Thank you.
They're average of how many pages now?
They're averaging about 50 pages now. We hit a high water mark this last issue with the Idris. We had 80 some odd pages.
80 pages.
80 pages, but we're not going to do that every time. I can't handle 80 pages.
80 pages, that's true. And then you've also joined us recently in a more official capacity. You're now working with us on the design team.
Yes, sir.
So tell us a little bit about your background. You're a longtime game maker.
And
I don't mean long. Actually, he just started, just out of college, right? So.
Where I have been involved in game design.
Right.
I was working with Steve Jackson Games.
Wow.
And some others, but primarily with Steve Jackson Games on the GURPS role-playing system.
Right.
And so I was involved in developing that. Steve is the one who designed that. I'm not trying to say I designed that thing at all. And similarly, Car Wars. Steve designed Car Wars, but for a while, I was what they call system guru and responsible for making sure the systems worked.
Now, and you're helping us with the economy. You're helping us, which is a really, really big part of our game. And your background, you're a mathematician.
Sure. Yes. I've got a degree in mathematics, and I can't say I know analysis real well, but in terms of what we need to do in the game, I can handle that.
Well, it all boils down to statistics, and it's good to have you. I mean, you've been doing an amazing job for us on Jump Point, and it's been a big hit for us, and folks love it. It's going to be, having you on the economy is going to be a real big boon for us, too.
I hope so.
It's going to be fun. I mean, I know Chris is looking forward to getting the actual we're doing a simulator of it right now, and we're looking forward to getting the full simulator to where we can turn the gas pipes or turn the steam pumps and steam wheels and see what happens and what pops out. What happens if this crashes here, this goes there? What happens if iron goes up here? We're going to be putting that simulator to work so we can get it, tested and working well for the universe. So listen, I appreciate you joining us.
Sure.
And this week, coming up this week at this camera, coming up this week at Cloud Imperium Games, well, it's time for episode 6 of The Next Great Starship. Can't wait to see what they come up with next. Loving what they're up to on The Next Great Starship. Not sure what we're going to do with Mark Skelton in that gold shirt. There's actually a post in the forums about that. If you want to get your viewpoint in there about what we should do with it, auction it off for charity, burn it, nuke it, whatever, get your thoughts in there. We'll figure something out. Next week's show, the U.S. switches to daylight savings on Sunday, which is spring ahead. So next week will be -5 GMT. We'll try to get that right next week, and we all know we've had some issues of that in the past. Coming up next week on Wingman's Hangar, well, it's and we're going to be talking about the AI. Sorry, I probably shouldn't have told you who that was. Maybe you'll figure it out. But it's coming up next week. We've got another in-depth look at some cool stuff going on at Cloud Imperium. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you want to be the very first to find out what happens at Cloud Imperium, at Robert Space Industries, at all the different offices, whenever we post a video, you'll be the first one to know. I mean, we put a video up for, we broke the mining colony out of Wingman's Hangar to put it up separately last night for the big new, and if you notice, we're now doing a monthly report. It seems to be a pretty big deal, and that's pretty cool. But Chris wanted that in the monthly report, so we pulled it out, put it in there separately, and within 2 minutes, we're already 300+ views, which is amazing. So keep subscribing to the YouTube channel. That's pretty cool. Submit your questions to the RSI forum. Get your whatever forum feedback questions you want answered. Put them in there. You know, if you want to do a video, go ahead and put it in there. We have some pretty strict guidelines on how that goes. Make it short, make it cool. We'll get it in there. And if you want to join Wingman's Hangover, it's 15 minutes after the show. It's kind of an informal look, and we talk to each other directly and Skype and be on chat roll and just hang out, which is kind of where this whole thing started. So it's kind of fun to keep it at the roots, if you know what I mean. And remember, if you want your stuff featured on Wingman's Hangar, send it in. We just might use it. Where are we going to see them, guys? In the verse.